Chris, talk us through the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers are really important here. It's those wins, and it's those wins via decision. Both guys real experienced. Slight favor to Sičaja. I think it makes sense. He'll have a little bit of a hometown crowd advantage.
And this MMA rules bout takes place in the minus 66 kilogram featherweight division and will be contested over 3 5-minute rounds. The referee in charge when the action gets underway, Mr. Ilya Lucic. Fighters to the center, please, for your final instructions.
Gentlemen, you know the rules, fight clean, listen to my commands at all times, keep yourself protected. Touch gloves, step back.
So you saw the stats up on screen there for the betting. Interesting how this is going to play out. I think that information has been as accurate as has been thought over the course of the past 5 bouts. But at featherweight 4, 3 5-minute rounds. Pawel Polityło of Poland, Ivan Sičaja of Croatia. Polityło fighting blue, Sičaja fighting red. At featherweight, it's going to be sparky, it's going to be quick. Height advantage quite clearly straight away to Sičaja. But what a low centre of gravity Polityło has got to take it to the ground. His wrestling is great. He's since acquired the knockout power. 4-wheel drive. He comes forward, punishes. That's an easy takedown. And Polityło not able to capitalise. Sičaja pretty lively, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to need to be. It's going to be all about footwork here in this fight. Footwork for grappling, footwork for boxing. And Polityło has worked on his hands quite a bit, and we've seen those improvements.
So sizing each other up. We've seen a lot of that tonight. Switch hitting from Polityło. A little bit of an Ali shuffle there. Sičaja on the outside, happy to keep moving. Happy to draw Polityło in. Polityło fairly relaxed, but gets caught there. Beautiful. 2 strikes. Is he going to keep this at distance, Sičaja, and punish him at range? Polityło finding it very difficult to nail his man down, but does it. Look at that. Dive straight in. It's a takedown. And on the ground, well, Polityło very dangerous, as he is in the upright. Just look at him bring the heat here now. In the exchange, takes advantage, throws everything in. Saw a knee strike, an elbow. A little bit of trouble on the left eye of Polityło. Needs to have a care. Starting to land big shots, very confident in that newly acquired KO skill. And very meaningful, Polityło, when he starts to throw.
And this is the confidence that you can have when you're that good of a wrestler. Sičaja has dealt certainly with grappling difficulties in FNC, but I don't think it's quite at the caliber of Polityło. And again, it's just always a double threat. So Polityło needs to keep that thing. He's got to wrestle box here for sure.
So, having to stay on the outside. Sičaja throwing up the kicks. Very busy. He's busier than a bishop's hat, it's got to be said. Polityło needs to bring a stop to that movement because it's causing him real problems. Even though he can shorten the distance, they're almost running a marathon in there, the two of them. Great footwork. Sičaja comes to the centre to match him. But back to that lateral movement, keeping Polityło guessing.
The thing is, though, you can see Polityło beckoning him on as if there was some kind of hesitancy, and I like that Sičaja didn't take the bait. He needs to stay disciplined.
Inside, and just look at the ease with which he can connect and take his man down. And he's done that for the second time here, but he gives it up after a bit of ground and pound, looking for another way in, and starts to bring the heat here now. Look at the knee strike. He's really ragdolling Sičaja. Sičaja, bit of escapology there, but he took some heat and tries to bring a reverse roundhouse kick. That was a mistake. Just look at Polityło take great advantage in that. He's got Purchase holding the hand through between the legs. He's got the back firing at will here, really bringing the heat. Knee strike as well. Never short on bringing those forward. But up on the wire now, little chance for a breather. This is a bit of a high-octane respite from what we've seen as very leisurely activity so far, Chris.
Yeah, I think the best performance we've seen, the most complete performance from Pawel Polityło, where the wrestling and the striking, which are often very much isolated, in discussion must be pulled together, because that's what he's missing, or excuse me, that's I think what was missing previously in some of his fights, being able to meld those two disciplines.
Starting to have a little bit of fun here now. Polityło probably feels he's got the measure of Sičaja. Comes in on the back of a double kick, tries to throw the hands. Sičaja evading a lot of trouble in the first round. Interesting turnout, isn't it, Chris?
That's a pump fighter for sure. It's working out, and you could hear the whole time he was listening to his corner about just really committing to that backhand to his right straight, overhand right, and punching through the target to be able to get a hold of his grips. And Sičaja, you can see, is a little bit concerned about his inability to gain the respect of Polityło, I think.
Well, early days yet. First round definitely to Polityło. We'll see some of the action here. Lands well, spinning back fist, follows through with the left. On the top of the head, the forehead doesn't cause Polityło too many problems, but just look at the ease with which Polityło is able to take his man down, and he punishes him in the ground and pound. Doesn't manage to find a finishing position, but they're good clubbing shots, and they're going to take their toll. You can only go to the well so many times. So we go to 2. We always thought this might go the distance, actually, Chris, didn't we, from the opening? Sičaja will want to keep on the outside. Polityło, well, has a track record of going the whole 3, but he's absolutely stacked here. Oh, and there's a point deduction.
Something must have happened there in the corner. Something must have happened. We didn't get to see it on camera, but I'm telling you right now, the referee pulled a point. That is massive.
Yeah. So Polityło has to make that up somewhere. So he's going to have to start bringing the heat, and that may bring an opening for Sičaja. Stumble there from Polityło. Just a little bit urgent in his work. The corner was saying, don't get greedy, meaning we know you're lively, we know you're looking for work, but don't throw caution to the wind and subsequently get caught. A little bit too relaxed, isn't he, with the hands? He needs to have a care, because Sičaja can and will opportune with a strike. On the outside now, though.
Polityło's got to pick up on that circling. He's got to really think about where he needs to be and where the head is going to be off that circling, especially as he starts to cut the distance down in the cage.
Yeah, he's got to beat Sičaja to the destination, hasn't he? He's got to read that shot and then be there waiting. At the moment, he's behind and travelling after. But Sičaja now causing some frustration here and causing problems for Polityło.
Uppercut again from Sičaja twice. He could see Polityło just dipping his head, looking to throw the overhand right and then penetrate with his step. But gravity seems to find its way here.
The ease with which Polityło takes his man to the ground, and the sheer volume of work he does when he does manages to grab his man and make it count. But just look at Sičaja, throws him off, shrugs him off almost, having absorbed the full frontal attack from Polityło. Well, Polityło starting to breathe a bit heavy, understandably, because of the frantic start to which Polityło was brought to this. Sičaja has just kept this moving all the time, keeping Polityło guessing. Let's just see now if Polityło can really advantage himself. He's got 3 minutes to do this, but he can't keep Sičaja on the ground. So up on the wire, trying to punish the thighs of Sičaja, Polityło. Good elbow across across the face there from Polityło. He does come to do business, always looking for work. Being outgunned here speed-wise, but it's just the incredible ability he has to throw himself into a takedown and literally never fail, takes his man down straight away. Easing up a bit, Polityło. That's Sičaja, still lemon fresh, still on his toes, still working.
Way too much patience, though, for me from Sičaja. He's now losing these rounds. Well, there has been obviously a point deduction, but I believe he's still going to lose this round. And he just, you know, defense and dancing and occasionally jabbing and moving your head is not going to win him this fight.
Well, Polityło making the fact that he's ready to engage, and it's Sičaja that's doing the evasion. He's making Polityło look a little bit flat-footed here. Polityło having to really cover the distance to get inside, and you can see he's desperate to start landing leather. Starting to blow a little bit. And now frustration starting to show. Polityło being taunted with that star from Sičaja. Just can't get in enough to do enough damage. Running out of ideas, Polityło, understandably, but it's Sičaja that's now behind the wheel, forcing the pace here.
His corner are calling for that right when Sičaja circles predictably to his left. I'm not sure if they're seeing a timing to that, but there we go. This is really what they want. It's got to always be a double threat. You got to threaten the hands, and you got to really show the footwork, and then get inside and get underneath your man. And he's done that multiple times with the double leg.
Just hasn't been able to capitalize on that top position, grounding and pounding. And he's almost given it up, and Sičaja so fast stands up and he loses it, and we're back to this again. So Polityło hasn't exactly got all the dots joined up here and have an answer. And he's looking just a little bit battle weary now, I have to say, going into the third.
That's always going to be a question too. If you miss weight, does that become a cardio situation into the third round? Now, in my view, he would have, you know, been in great shape for this fight. That was evident, but maybe there was an injury too. You just don't know. He doesn't seem to be lacking in energy. But Sičaja, for me, okay, that first round ends up being 9-9 because of the point deduction. He still lost the second round 10-9. It's a 19-18 fight, Will.
So you can see Polityło having to chase. Initially a little mistake, but recovers. But Sičaja not able to capitalize on it. And just look at the ease with which Polityło takes the leg, forces his man down. And from there you'd think he'd up the ante and start to really throw those punches hell for leather. Doesn't do it. And Sičaja finds his way into the third.
Yeah, it's definitely an art, isn't it? Not only getting the takedown, but consolidating the position. That's something that Polityło hasn't quite been able to master in this particular fight.
So out for the third and final over this 3-round matchup at featherweight. Fast, furious, right from the get-go. And Pawel Polityło makes his first mistake here, and Ivan Sičaja advantages. Polityło's given up his back, but it's a little bit of escapology for a man of his skills. Lives and fights out of Dublin. Fought for KSW. Sičaja, interestingly enough, and his brother worked out of their own gym for many years before they came and joined ATT Zagreb. They'd fought amateur tournaments, huge success. And it's the first time we've seen him attempt a takedown, Sičaja. And there's an awful lot going on here but not an awful lot happening.
Polityło is really trying to post with that jab, march forward, and then time a right. But again, you know, now the strategy is rather predictable, and Sičaja is such a master at racing away, realizing when he needs to circle. It's tricky. It's a tricky cage to cut off right now for Pawel Polityło, and that was always going to have to be a task.
The ease with which he takes Sičaja down yet again is just incredible. He's just able to rag his man down, and now in this position, can he maintain top? Can he work and really try and make an impact? Because whilst Sičaja is in the upright and moving and mobile, well, Polityło's got his hands full, so he's had to close guard here now, Sičaja, and Polityło might have a chance to work.
Polityło trying to posture here and pop that guard open potentially. Sičaja really going to find it difficult with his head compressed there down to the mat. You can see Polityło using the right of his forearm. Sičaja relieving the pressure. This is a battle right now with the grips. Good short connection here from Polityło. It's all blue-collar stuff. Not super pretty from Polityło, but Sičaja reaching for a desperation guillotine there. It's going to be no dice. %70 of wins for Polityło via decision, 83 for Sičaja. I figured this was going to be a tale of deep waters, but for me, Sičaja just didn't quite do his homework enough in my view. He does have good boxing, you know, he absolutely has the ability to cause problems with his reach, and it just wasn't a factor here.
Back to the upright for both fighters. Halfway through this round. Polityło started so confidently, so dominantly. Sičaja having the skill and ability to take the heat out of Polityło's strategies and advances. Still lemon fresh, still on his toes, still moving laterally. Sniping away out of range, making life difficult for Polityło. I have to say he's made Polityło look lumpen with his footwork, it has to be said. And Polityło making the point, you know, we can all run around. And yeah, I think rightly made. Polityło saying, well, if you won't engage, why should I?
Shades there of Nick Diaz laying down on the canvas. But yeah, I agree. You know, it's definitely been one of those things where both guys are being a little bit hesitant and kind of showing their best and their worst at the same time.
So just look at that. Ducks under the punch, takes his man down. Hang on a second, where's the referee involved here? It's such a shame. That's the first time we've seen an engagement.
Now, if there were a point deduction here, that would be really important.
And so we're assuming the referee's intervened because of a strike to the back of the head.
That's correct.
But in the circumstances, was it unavoidable? Was it intentional?
Let's see what happens here.
Sičaja really milking this. So the referee, Mr. Ilya Lutic, to make the decision here about what will happen.
Yeah, we're going to get a point. I believe the first deduction was actually for unsportsmanlike conduct because he was obviously showboating a little bit after the conclusion of the first round and possibly taunting there going into the second. But yeah, this is important.
Right, well, with 25 seconds to go, Pawel Polityło, with the point deductions that he's got, is in danger of throwing this bout away. So he needs to finish, but with 15 seconds to go, that seems impossible. Sicaja takes up the slack here now and starts to become very dominant. And Sičaja just ragdolling Polityło around. This is going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out in terms of points. And there it is. Strong finish from Sičaja.
Now, if Polityło won all those rounds, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, before the 2 points were taken away, he's going to win this thing 28-27. Where it gets more interesting is if Sičaja was given a round on any of the judges' scorecards.
Well, Polityło looks confident. But Polityło definitely pumped. So let's see how this played out. Chris, talk us through where the gaming of the rule system happened, if indeed Polityło was intentionally doing that.
Yeah, he threw a switch kick. You could see him shuffle in and throw it up, and Sičaja did a good job of digging underneath it. Nice reaction, blocking the kick and then actually scooping it up. Took him down, nearly exposed the back. Polityło raising his hands there. I'm not sure whether Sičaja is doing that to say, hey, look, I made it through, but...
Right, well, let's wait and hear what the official decision is. Let's see what the judges' scorecards have to say. This was one fight that I thought Polityło might have the advantage. Smart game from Sičaja, and that was just to keep moving. It's a strategy, and well, with the point deductions, it might be successful. Let's wait and see how they've counted everything up.
That's his game plan. I'm moving. I can run when I have a season off here. Sorry, I'm good legs, you have a good for run, yeah? You have to fight, yeah?
So, all the best of friends at the end. However, I have to wait and see who is actually the victor here. Interesting bout, Chris.
Yeah, very interesting. It sounds like Sičaja actually was hurt too, which would explain some of the hesitancy that we saw.
So a defensive game right from the get-go. Yeah. So still waiting. The judges are having a hard time here. And I have to say, referee Lutic was very strict and administered the rules very, very harshly, some would say, against Polityło, but here's the decision.
At the end of those 3 completed rounds of action, we go to your judges' scorecards where we have a split decision in favor of your winner. From Croatia, Ivan Tirke
Sičaja takes the win. Chris, well, there's a look of shock and astonishment on both of our faces here, but how did that run?
I think it came down to a couple of the uppercuts he landed in the second round. They did hit Polityło pretty good, and that's always going to score higher, the most meaningful, impactful stuff over cumulative.
But the point deductions must have played a part.
Yeah, big time. Absolutely. It turned what would have been a 29-28 fight for Polityło into a win for Sičaja because of the 2 points taken away. 28-27.
So, Pawel Polityło's win streak comes to an abrupt end. Sičaja, home favourite, takes the win here tonight. Incredible.
Ivane, čestitam, nova pobjeda u FNC kavezu. 2 minus boda je dobio tvoj protivnik, prvi zbog pada na vagi, ali sad i zbog udaraca u potiljak i to je na kraju presudilo. Kako se osjećaš, kako si ti sve vidio?
Pozdrav. Hvala. Ovako, imao je minus bod, broj 1 što je promašao kategoriju totalno. Imao je preko kile viška na vagi, to je broj 1 što je dobio minus bod. A druga stvar, udario me u potiljak, to je minus bod. Ja ne sudim, suci su tu da sude. Mislim da sam pogodio više čistih udaraca. Ovo je mene doslovno u glavu, nije ni jednom pogodio sam tog potiljka. Slomio sam i ruku i nogu na njega. Tako da što se mene tiče, moja je pobjeda naravno uz pomoć ta 2 minus boda, ali bože moj, to je sport. Takva su pravila i šta ja da radim.
Ivane, slomio si nogu već u prvoj rundi i šaku i vidim i nos, tako da i dosta štete u ovom meču, tvrd protivnik izuzetno.
A da, nos je povrijeđen od priprema, to mi je puklo nakon prvog dodira. Ruku i nogu sam slomio, jebi ga, šta je tu, oporavit će se. Znao sam kakav me protivnik čeka, prvak je u Babilonu u Poljskoj, što sad znači da sam ja prvak u toj organizaciji, evo, pobjedio sam ga. Da, žao mi, ali tako je. I to je to. Za mene idu novi izazov, idu još bolji protivnici, ja nastavljam napredovat i borim se tu do zadnje kapi krvi, to je to.
Dame i gospodo, mislim da Ivan to nije zaslužio, borio se junački do kraja sa slomljenom rukom i šakom. Dajte ga nagradite pljeskom. Tirke, Ivan Sičaja!